Hi friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are new. Today we are making an exciting recipe that I got from a sweet friend of mine that has another YouTube channel. So I'm excited to share this recipe with you guys. So let's get in the kitchen. All right friends, so we are making a milk and honey bread recipe that my sweet friend Tamara at Southern Wife Everyday Life makes all the time. It's become a weekly thing for her. She makes it for her family. They don't buy store-bought bread very rarely. She makes this bread. She uses this bread recipe for hot dog rolls. She makes hamburger buns. She does all kinds of things with this base recipe. She uses a bread machine, which I don't have a bread machine anymore. I got rid of mine years ago. But after talking to her, she said you can do the same thing with a stand mixer, or you can do it by hand if you are one of those people that wants to knead it by hand, which I don't want to do. So I have my stand mixer set up. We're going to make this recipe. We're going to try this with her recipe and using just the stand mixer, and we're going to see how this works. So let's make some bread. All right friends, so in this bowl right here, we have a half cup of milk. We have a cup and a half of water. So we're gonna mix those together. These are gonna go in the microwave at 30-second interval, 30 seconds until this comes to the temp of 105 to 110 degrees, which is the proper temperature to have your liquid if you're making bread. Definitely don't wanna kill your yeast and have your water or whatever liquid you're using too hot. So we're gonna check this in just a second, see where we're at with our temperature. If you have a thermometer, you can use a thermometer to check your liquid temperature. I have been doing bread for enough years that I can check it with my hand and I can tell if we are where it needs to be. And this is not yet there, so we're gonna go ahead and do another 30 seconds to go. So we're gonna do a quarter of a cup of honey. We're just using an organic honey we got from Costco. We need to get 3 cups of, this whole recipe takes 6 cups of flour. We're gonna start with 3 cups because if you are not familiar with making bread, temperature, humidity, all kinds of things can have a lot of effect on your bread. So you can make the same bread recipe 3 different days in a row and you're gonna end up using a different amount of flour each and every time. It's just the way it works. Bread is a science, so you have to be really careful with that. Don't over add flour because then you're gonna end up with a really dry bread. So let me check this. Okay, we're gonna go another 30 seconds because I don't think we're quite warm enough. We're almost there. So while we're doing that, let's go ahead and get our first 3 cups of flour into our bowl of our stand mixer. We're gonna put our dough hook on here and we're gonna let the stand mixer do the work for us. I don't wanna stand here for hours kneading bread. So we're just gonna let this do the work for us. That's the benefit of having a stand mixer. Our stand mixer is definitely going to get a workout today because we are making egg noodles in a little bit. So I will attach a link for that recipe in the description of this one for you guys so that you can check out that recipe as well. So here is our milk and water mixture. So we're gonna go ahead and add in our, I believe this is, yeah, we're good right here. So this is 2 tablespoons of butter. We're gonna add our butter in here because the butter is gonna melt from the heat. We've got our quarter of a cup of sugar and our quarter of a cup of honey. Now we're gonna add our yeast to this. So when you're using a bread machine, there's a certain order you have to put things in the bread machine. When you're making bread from scratch like this, I know from experience that you want to put your sugar or whatever you're using as a sweetener in your bread, you want to put that in with your yeast because the yeast is going to feed off of that sugar. You want to make sure that you're giving your yeast enough sugar so that it will really have a good bubble up. You want it to really start to activate. So we're doing 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. It's a little bit shy. Mix this up and then we're gonna let this sit. Your yeast needs to do what they call bloom. Blooming means that you're giving your yeast a chance to activate, to come alive. That's what you want it to do. You want this to foam up and be nice and bubbly. That's how you know that your yeast is good, that you don't have bad yeast. So we're gonna let this sit for a couple minutes, let this start to bloom, and then we'll start adding it to our flour. Here is our yeast with our butter and our milk and our sugars. We're gonna get that added to our mixer and start adding in our next 3 cups of flour. We're also gonna put in some salt. I don't like to add, I'm just old fashioned. I don't like to add my salt to my bread mixture until I have added the flour. I don't like to add it to my yeast. I find that it kills the yeast. It's just me. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my salt put in here, get my yeast and milk and water mixture put in, and we're gonna get this bread made. Flour in here already. I'm gonna go ahead and put our salt in. I'm gonna start to give this a little bit of a mix before I add this in, so I can start to incorporate that salt into the flour. And then we're gonna just start pouring this in. All right, we're gonna get our next cup of flour ready to go. And as this starts to come together, we're gonna start adding more flour to this. I'm gonna keep the temp up, or not temp, we're gonna kick the speed up just a little bit. Ignore the butter on my shirt. I'm in the middle of lots of cooking projects today, and I was like, I'm not gonna go change my clothes and end up changing 5 times. So, all right, we're gonna add 1 more cup. Once we get all of our flour incorporated in this, then we are going to just let our mixer sit here and knead this dough until it comes together into a ball and it has the right elasticity and the right texture to it. So this will be our 5th cup of flour. All right, so we're gonna let this slowly increase our speed. I don't wanna have flour all over my kitchen. So once we get our flour all the way incorporated into our mixture, then we can turn the speed up on this and we can really let the mixer do the work of kneading this bread. All right, I'm gonna let the mixer start to do the work on this bread until I feel that it's come together the way that it should. Friends, it's come together. So we are going to get this into a bowl. Lock our mixer. All right, here is our dough. I just sprayed this with a little bit of our avocado spray. We're just gonna put this in. So how you wanna do this is you wanna put this down, swirl it just a little bit, and then flip it over so that you end up with a oiled side on your dough. This way it's not gonna stick. We're gonna put some saran wrap on this. We're gonna set this in the warmest part of our kitchen, which is gonna be over here on the stove, and it's gonna just sit for a couple of hours until it rises, and we'll be ready to finish making our bread. We've got our loaf pans ready to go, and wait till you see this dough. Oh my word, is that not amazing? That is a bowl full of beautiful bread dough. Look at that, friends. I'm excited about this. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put this down on our board. Look how that just rolled right out of there. Our bread in these, and they are gonna have to rise 1 more time before we put it in the oven. Bread is a process. It's definitely not something that you can just, you know, put it together super quick and be able to have bread in 20 minutes. It doesn't work that way. If you're making homemade bread, it doesn't work that way. So we're gonna get this kind of rolled out a little bit. And then we're gonna roll it up and we're gonna get it put in our loaf pans. We're gonna cover it back up, and it's gonna need to sit here and rise for a little bit until it's double in size, and then we will bake it. All right, So let's just roll this up. We're gonna stick this in our bread pan. Loaf pan. Just like that. Get this one ready. Just like that. There's our 2 loaves of bread. We're gonna cover these up, put them back over here in this warm spot, let them double in size. Should be about a half an hour or so, which will be perfect because that'll give us time to get our noodles made. So as I said, stay tuned for that recipe. Look for that in the description box. And we'll have some fresh chicken and noodles to go with our homemade bread. Look at that. Is that not beautiful? We're gonna get these in the oven, or we have our oven at 375. They're gonna bake for about 30 minutes. All right, friends, here's our loaf of bread. We're gonna cut this. Smells so good. Look at that, friends. Is that not beautiful? I think we're gonna get hubby in here to try this. Let me put a little butter on this bread. Cheers.
Yeah. I'm gonna put a little pepper on mine.
He puts pepper on everything.
Must be a southern thing.
He needs to have a little bread with his pepper. Okay, super good recipe. Thank you so much, Tamara. Love this recipe. Definitely gonna make this again. I've seen all the stuff you've made with it, from bagels to rolls to garlic knots to the bread to everything else. We're gonna try them all. I'll leave a link in the description box for you guys for this recipe for her channel. Make sure you check out Tamara because she does amazing stuff over there. This is super good. We're gonna go eat this with our chicken and noodles. Look for that recipe. Also, the link will be in the description for that one that we just finished. We'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, friends, and God bless. Don't forget to subscribe and like.